The distress signal carved through the void like a scream in the darkness. It rippled across subspace frequencies that most civilized species had long abandoned. Too unstable, too prone to interference, too primitive for modern galactic communication. But the humans heard it. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the UHSF Indomitable, her dark eyes fixed on the tactical display where the signal pulsed like a dying heartbeat. Around her, the crew worked in practiced silence, their faces illuminated by the cold glow of their stations. Signal origin confirmed, Lieutenant Okonkwo reported, his fingers dancing across his console. Zephanian freighter, approximately 43 light-years from our current position. They're being attacked. Who's attacking them? Chen asked, though she suspected she already knew the answer. Kraloth raiders, Captain. 3 warships by the signal analysis. A heavy silence fell across the bridge. The Kraloth were the terror of the Outer Rim. Vicious pirates who preyed on weaker species, taking what they wanted and leaving only wreckage behind. Most civilized fleets gave them a wide berth, unwilling to risk their precious crews against such brutal adversaries. How long to intercept? Chen asked. The navigation officer looked up, surprise evident in his features. Captain, with the fleet's current heading, we'd need to divert significantly. Command might not authorize. How long, Jenkins? 17 hours at maximum burn, ma'am. Chen's jaw tightened. 17 hours. In that time, the Zephanian crew would likely be dead, their ship stripped for parts, their families never knowing what happened to them. The galaxy would shrug, mark another casualty in the endless ledger of space, and move on. But that wasn't the human way. All ships, this is Indomitable, Chen broadcast to the fleet. We have a distress call from a civilian freighter under attack by Kraloth raiders. I'm ordering a course change to intercept. Maximum burn. We launch in 5 minutes. The response was immediate. From the Valkyrie, Captain Rodriguez replied first. About damn time we saw some action, Chen. Valkyrie is ready. One by one, the other ships of humanity's frontier fleet confirmed. The Resolute, the Defiance, the Tempest. 12 warships in all, crewed by the descendants of Earth, the death world that had forged humanity in fire and ice, in predators and plagues, in endless competition and cooperation. In the command center of the Zephanian freighter Gentle Tide, Captain Zilara pressed her 6-fingered hands against the communication console, her crystalline skin flickering with distress patterns. Around her, the ship shuddered under another impact. The shields are failing, her first officer reported, his voice carrying the musical quality of their species. We have perhaps an hour before they breach the hull. Zilara had sent the distress call knowing it was futile. They were too far from any civilized space, too deep in the frontier where law and order had no meaning. The Zephanian defense fleet wouldn't arrive in time, assuming they even tried. Her people were merchants and artists, not warriors. They had no experience with violence, no stomach for it. The Kraloth knew this. That's why they hunted here. Prepare the crew for boarding, Zilara said quietly, her bioluminescent patterns dimming with resignation. Tell them to cooperate. Perhaps the Kraloth will be merciful. But she didn't believe it. Neither did her crew. The human fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel like avenging angels, their arrival announced by the distinctive ripple of their jump drives. On the Indomitable's bridge, tactical displays lit up with targeting solutions. Kraloth ships are breaking off their attack, Okonkwo reported. Captain, they're broadcasting on standard frequencies. They're claiming salvage rights and ordering us to stand down. Chen's smile was cold. Tell them to try and enforce it. The Kraloth had made their reputation preying on the weak. They were larger than human ships, more heavily armed by conventional standards, and their crews were bred for violence. They had terrorized the Outer Rim for generations because no one had the will to stop them. But they had never fought humans before. The battle was brief and brutal. Human ships moved with a speed and agility that seemed impossible for their size, their pilots pulling maneuvers that would have killed crews of any other species. The humans didn't just tolerate the crushing G-forces, they thrived in them, their death world evolution having prepared them for exactly this kind of extreme environment. The Indomitable rolled through a barrage of plasma fire that would have vaporized a Zephanian ship, its ablative armor absorbing the impact as it closed to what humans called knife-fighting range, a distance so close that most species considered it suicidal. Chen's ship unleashed its railguns at point-blank range. The kinetic slugs, accelerated to a fraction of light speed, tore through the Kraloth flagship's shields like they were tissue paper. The ancient weapons, considered primitive by galactic standards, proved devastatingly effective in human hands. "Target their engines," Chen ordered. "I want prisoners to question, not debris." Around the battlefield, the other human ships pressed their attack with coordinated precision. The Kraloth, for all their reputation, found themselves outmaneuvered, outfought, and utterly outclassed. Within 30 minutes, 2 of their ships were crippled, and the third was attempting a desperate escape. It didn't make it far. The Tempest intercepted it with a perfectly timed missile spread, disabling its jump drive and leaving it dead in space. On the gentle tide, Zilara watched in stunned silence as the human fleet systematically dismantled ships that had been tormenting her species for years. Her console chimed with an incoming transmission. "Zephanian vessel Gentle Tide. This is Captain Sarah Chen of the United Human Space Force. Are you in need of assistance?" Zilara's translator struggled with the human language. It was so full of hard consonants and aggressive tones, so different from the musical speech of her people. But the meaning was clear. "Yes," she managed, her voice shaking. We thought no one would come. We broadcast on the old frequencies because our main communications were damaged. We didn't expect—" "We heard you," Chen replied simply. "We're sending repair teams over. Your crew is safe now." "Who are you?" Zilara asked. "What species sends their fleet into danger for strangers?" There was a pause, and when Chen spoke again, there was something in her voice, pride mixed with a hint of sadness. "We're humans, Captain. We come from a world called Earth. And where we're from, when someone calls for help, you answer, no matter the cost." In the days that followed, the story spread across the outer rim like wildfire. The Deathworlders, humans from the impossible planet Earth, had answered a distress call that no one else would touch. They had fought the Kraloth and won, had risked their lives for a species they'd never met before. The Zephanian Council of Merchants sent a formal message of gratitude to the human homeworld. Other species began to take notice. If the humans would fight for strangers, what would they do for allies? As the Indomitable prepared to resume its patrol, Zilara's final transmission came through. "Thank you, Captain Chen. You saved not just our lives, but our faith that there is still honor in the galaxy." Chen looked out at the stars, at the infinite darkness that humanity had dared to explore despite coming from a world that had tried to kill them for millions of years. Earth had made them strong, had taught them that survival required courage and compassion in equal measure. "Just doing our job, Captain Zilara," she replied. "The universe is a dangerous place. Someone has to answer the call." The human fleet jumped back into FTL, leaving behind a grateful crew and a new understanding spreading through the stars. The Deathworlders had arrived, and they brought with them something the galaxy had forgotten: hope.